would invite you to look at the passage from Luke's Gospel, which Pam just read to us. You have it in the bulletins. You can also find it in the Pew Bibles on page 859, 860. Today is the last Sunday after Pentecost. It is also known as Christ the King Sunday. And we come to this day with maybe preloaded ideas of what it means to be a king, and yet we have Jesus, our King, on a cross. He's being executed by the government. So what kind of king is that? It seems very confusing to us. It was confusing to the people at that time. If you are the King of the Jews, get yourself down, and while you're at it, get me down from this cross too, says one of the guys on one side of him, one criminal. See, that one criminal wants things to go back as they were. Just let's stop this train right now. Let's go. Let's get out of here. So he's looking to the past. And then a criminal on the other side says, hey, just remember me when you get to your kingdom. He's very focused on the future. He wants to avoid the present. The death better come quickly because it's painful. It's crucifixion. So let's just worry about the future. So you got one guy worrying about the past, one about the future, and Jesus says, hang on a second. And he says to the one who is wanting to be remembered when Jesus comes into his kingdom, Jesus says, today you are with me in paradise. So past, maybe not so important. Future, we'll get there. Hang on a second. But today, there is something about being in the moment. And I'm going to say being in the moment of crucifixion. There's something about embracing those Good Friday elements of our lives. And it's when we dig deeply into that, when we figure out what exactly it means to be embracing the kingdom of God. What is it that we as the church are supposed to be doing when there is so much pain all around? I just caught the headlines this morning. I think there was another shooting, this time at Colorado State. There was a shooting at the University of Virginia. There were stabbings in Idaho, and we could go on. How do we keep our sanity when so much of this mess is going on? How do we know that the kingdom of God is operative with all this mess? So what I'd like to do, if you would grab the Book of Common Prayer and first turn to page 849. Page 849. We're going to kind of start there and go backwards. This is the part of the catechism where we learn what our church, the Episcopal Church, teaches about God the Son. And God is triune, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Who is God the Son? Who is Christ, who became flesh in the person of Jesus of Nazareth? And so we just want to deal with that first part. And this was part of the Colossians passage. This is where it's rooted, the Colossians passage, which Michael read. The question is, what do we mean when we say that Jesus is the only Son of God? We mean that Jesus is the only perfect image of the Father and shows us the nature of God. Jesus is the image of the invisible God. So if we want to know what God's character is, we look to the Christ of the Scriptures. All right? Let's go over a page to page 846. Who is God? The heading there is God the Father. from this, we can faithfully infer what God's kingdom is to look like, what we are to embody, and what we are to communicate into the world where there is so much pain. And this is radical stuff. I hope you understand how radical this is. I mean, we may, over time, think, this is what the church teaches. We've heard it before. But if we look out at what's going on, this is really radical, and this is why we are needed. This is why the church is needed. So if Christ is the image of the invisible God, what is God's character? So we look at God the Father, page 846. What it means is, then I'm looking at the second question here, it means the universe is good, and that is, it is the work of a single loving God who creates, sustains, and directs it. That's actually comforting because it sometimes seems like the world is out of control, doesn't know where it's going, but yes, God is still there. And with that next question and answer, it means that the world belongs to its creator and that we are called to enjoy it and to care for it in accordance with God's purposes, which means we need to study what God's purposes for all of creation is. That's why we do this weekly and sometimes daily, hopefully daily. It also means that, and this is the really important thing. It's all important, but maybe this is more important now than ever because we see this being violated. It means that all people are worthy of respect and honor because all are created in the image of God and all can respond to the love of God. Now, you'll recognize that from our baptismal covenant, where when we have a baptism, the priest will say, we respect the dignity of every human being, and we say, I will, with God's help. And we know that's not always being done in our world. But again, that's why we are needed. There's so much suffering. There is crucifixion, quote unquote, happening right now. Which is why, precisely, Jesus calls us to be in the moment and be God's people in the moment. Let's not worry about the past. The future will get here soon enough. Tomorrow has enough worries of its own, Jesus says. But be in the moment. Understand the suffering. Know where the wounds are. But also, because we are Easter people. And this is a Good Friday passage that we have on the last Sunday after Pentecost, Christ the King. We know, logically, that what follows is Easter Sunday. But what's boggling is, it's November the 20th. Easter's not right around the corner. What is the church trying to tell us by putting these passages the way that the church has put them? Aha! What's next week? Next week is the first Sunday of Advent. And what is Advent? It is a time for us to slow down a little bit, to be awake, and open our eyes to see how God is entering the world in the person of Jesus Christ. That's our role, to always be Advent people, to know that where there is a Good Friday, there is an Easter Sunday. Where there is death, God is creating new life. And we are to look for it eagerly and intentionally. And guess what? We'll find it, because God is still incredibly and lovingly active. And when there are people at the foot of the cross who are in pain and mourning, that's where we come alongside them and say, look at what God is bringing into being. The kingdom of God is in our midst. In the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.